What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla SPY, and the overall market. I'm going to break down some very key levels to watch for NIO, what you should be watching for when it comes to the market, at least moving forward, as we're seeing some data coming out for tomorrow. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit this $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. Not to mention 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. The offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with this market. Looking at NIO, we're making higher lows so far, which is a good sign. If this low holds, we should be looking for a bounce attempt on NIO to get back up to about 4.5 plus. There's a good chance it's about to happen, but this will depend on some factors, so I'll break down what they are. Citigroup gave NIO a buy rating, which is a nice improvement that came out about a day or two ago. The price-price ratio is down as NIO lost some strength, but now we're trying to gain it back. And Wednesdays are known for being green about 55% of the time, so it tends to be the strongest day of the week, which is a good sign for tomorrow. Now, to add on to this, there is a lot of news coming out for their ES6. This is their very important SUV. This is going to be a lot more popular, at least for families, and I think it's good for them to give it more exposure. Besides that, there's been some news that came out about Citigroup. They did decrease their price target on NIO from $8.90 to $8.10. But the good news is that they have a different view, and they once again have been changing their view to a buy rating. So they're still saying that NIO is a good buy, but they're just not as bullish as before. To a small extent, right? They still think it's going to be rising to $8 soon. Nonetheless, the growth that NIO is projecting is very promising. I can't wait to see what that leads to, at least for their future. So keep that in mind as well. When it comes to other factors in terms of our economic calendar, for Wednesday, it's going to be tomorrow. We have Cash Kari and a couple of Fed speakers at 10 o'clock a.m. Besides that, there's nothing too significant coming out in terms of data. Now, to add on to this, President Trump has said that he's softening his view on tariffs, and that he did talk about how there's going to be a big announcement coming out for April 2nd. He's hyping that date up again today. He did mention, according to reports, that a lot of the tariffs may be roughly about 50% on countries, and then on top of this, they won't be including the sector-specific tariffs. So that's been a big improvement. On top of this, there's been some news involving India. India is open to cutting its tariffs on more than half of U.S. imports, worth about $23 billion in the first phase of the trade deal. Negotiations are continuing, and especially with the reciprocal tariffs coming out, they're trying to decrease their tariffs overall on the U.S. So on about half of U.S. goods, they want to decrease them from 5 to 30%. They're kind of ranging in that area, so they're decreasing them, hoping to form a nice deal. So that's what's going on so far. And then on top of this, President Trump did mention he wants to give a lot of breaks on tariffs. Then he's talking about April 2nd. He also said that there's going to be a possible change in policy when it comes to automotives and pharmaceuticals. Besides that, we're still waiting to see what he ends up saying until then. We had some earnings that came out. Nothing is too significant. We just had GameStop, and they're doing okay right now. They did announce they want to buy more Bitcoin, and when it comes to their EPS and revenue, we saw a nice increase. They wanted to buy Bitcoin with their $4.6 billion cash hold, and then their earnings overall were quite decent. That's why the share price is still doing well. That's the main thing right now, as they are looking forward to using their cash in a lot of different ways. That's what's helping the share price. The fear and greed index is currently at fear. That's making up the majority of sentiment, as there's still lots of fear in this market. And besides that, what do I see for the charts? So NIO is trying to ride this trend line. If we lose 4.2, we're going to remain bearish. If we hold this trend line, we could be looking for a bounce back up towards the 4.5s. I think there's a good chance we try to do that, so it's looking promising so far. On SPY, we look a bit more bullish. We're actually trying to get back above 576. If we hold above that, we're looking for an attempt to continue to push for 578 and 580. As long as we don't lose 575 to start dipping for 572, we're looking more bullish for 580. The QQQ is looking more bullish. If we could hold above 494, we're looking for 495, then 498 as our potential targets. We're looking to make a move closer to 500 as we look bullish. There's an inverse Scholes-like structure on the IWM. We could be retesting 207 before we try to bounce. Back up for the 211s. ES is looking more bullish. As long as we're above our key resistance, we're doing a good job. As long as we don't lose 5,800, we're going to likely continue to push for 5850 then 5872. For NQ, we're looking a bit more bullish. As long as we don't lose support right here around 20,400, we're favoring a push for 20,700. I think we're doing quite well. For Bitcoin, we're making higher lows right here. So if we end up breaking 88,500, we're looking for an attempt to get up to 90,000. For Nvda, we're also doing a good job with this inverse head and shoulders. I want to see us try to break past 121. If that's the case, we're looking for an attempt from 124.8 to 125. I think we will eventually try to run up there. So long as we don't lose 117, we look bullish. Tesla's looking bullish, is trying to get up to this trend line. So you want to be a little bit careful as we approach it. So I do think we could be approaching the 290s by tomorrow or very, very soon. As long as we're above 280, we remain bullish, and we could be looking for 295 to 300, which is where this trend line is, for a little bit more upside as we look bullish. Apple looks bullish, looking for 226 as our potential targets. Netflix is going for the 1000 area. We'll see how it reacts to that, but it's going to go a little bit higher up until there. For Coinbase, as long as we're above 202, we're favoring 206 again. If that breaks, we have a gap to fill up to about 212. If we lose 196, we could turn back down, but overall, we look a bit more bullish. For Amazon, we look bullish. So long as we don't lose 202, we're favoring an upside move for 208 and eventually the 211 area. Meta is looking bullish. We're looking for essentially 635. If that breaks, we're going even higher. So I do see some upside potential in this. For Microsoft, we're looking pretty good. We could be looking for 397, but we need to break past 396 to push for 400. And Google's looking like it wants to go up to 175. The VIX is still technically weak, which is a good sign for the markets. The market remains bullish. As of right now, the bulls have a bigger edge, and I'm hoping this helps NIO, as Wednesdays tend to be green 55% of the time. So hopefully we see us base right over here. We hold this trend line of support. If we don't hold that, we're looking for a dip to 4.2. If we do hold this, we're looking for a bounce for about 4.5. I do favor that bounce for 4.5 on NIO. We saw so much downside without much of a bounce, so we're near support here. So hopefully we see some buyers defend. Anyways, that's it for my video. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a good day, and peace out.